Okay, everybody, this is gonna be part two of this video that we started reacting to. Gene Deal exposes details about week 4 of Diddy trial and exposes 50 Cent baby mom and all dark secrets, featuring Gene Deal on the art of dialogue. So let's get into it.
But the baby daddy was giving her enough money for she could do something, but she wanted that extra freak off money. She had to want it, bruh. Because why would you stoop so low to bring yourself down like that? She had an option. Her friend was making, she was talking about her friends was making a couple of $1 million doing, what's that other stuff on internet where
OnlyFans?
the OnlyFans, yeah, thank you. Her friends was doing OnlyFans, making $2 million. She could have did OnlyFans and made hundreds of thousands of dollars. She chose not to do that to bring old boy Freak Toy.
Damn.
And then it seemed like she was allegedly picking up drugs for him too.
A mule. I heard and read in the transcripts that Christina Caron was asking her to bring packages from LA to Miami. I don't know what were in them packages, but if Christina was telling her, don't worry, it's safe. If you're bringing packages from Amazon, there's no need to talk about don't worry, it's safe. So, there's no evidence though. Remember, federal court of law is not about hearsay. You gotta have receipts. If you don't got no receipts, it don't matter what you say. It can, the defense is gonna tear you up in the cross-examination.
She was still dealing with old boy all the way up until the time he got arrested.
Remember when everything happened? When the raids happened and when Little Rock Jones had his lawsuit and 50 Cent started calling her, oh, I didn't know you was a little sex worker, this and that. And remember? And that picture came out where she was walking side by side with Diddy. At that time, I thought that she was probably pimping, getting Diddy girls, because Little Rock Jones said she was like a sex worker for Diddy. But look at what type of sex worker it was. Getting $10,000 to participate in all-star freak-offs and stuff. Dang. And like Gene said, she had to be getting her money for her son, a couple of $1,000. And look, her friends were making way more money than what she was making going through all this trauma. I think she really fell for Diddy, man.
That's how he had her mind, bro. It was crazy. It was crazy. Now,
with this AI tool, you can turn your story into a beautifully illustrated children's book.
she's telling her story, but she never mentioned like Cassie did about the diseases and everything that she had. She just said how sick she was because he was doing sick stuff with her. Man, it's crazy, bro. I can't even talk. I don't even want to talk about it, bro. I know it's an interview, but I don't even want to talk about it. It was sick. It's like, how you have another man ejaculate on a woman and you rub your body all up against that and then lick her with all the stuff on her, bruh. That shit is crazy, bruh. Dude Dude is, I don't know what you want to call him, man. Yo, R. Kelly, Bill Cosby, Weinstein, ain't nobody got nothing on dude. Nothing.
I didn't know what he was gonna say. Ain't nobody got nothing on Diddy. That's a good one, Gene. Yo, Diddy's a freaky dome.
Nothing, dog. It's perverted and it's nasty to hear some of these testimonies that are going on. And that's real talk, bro. That's real talk.
Yeah, Diddy a different breed, man.
A different breed, bro. Oh, you said he's a different breed? My man. I don't know what breed that could be, bro. I've never ever heard somebody, yo, and you know, we all grow up looking at some porn and all this like that. I've never ever heard that or seen that in no porn movie that a dude is doing that type of stuff, bro. Nah, man. Nah. That shit is beyond gross, bro. Some of the stuff that you hear in that courtroom is beyond gross.
And what you mean by that when you say all-star freak-off?
The all-star freak-offs is when that she was going to get 2 or 3 of the top male strippers and bring them in, and she was going to have them do her back to back to back to back because that's what he liked. So that's how she wanted to please him. The all-star freak-off is like tag team, WrestleMania. They get a chance to jump in on that. But you're going to have some of these guys out here, some of these rappers, still going to want to be with her, still going to want to see her because she got a fat ass and a pretty face.
Do you think Diddy was only messing around with her because of who her baby daddy was?
Well, I think that he probably developed a relationship with her first because of that. Because he knew who dude was. And he knew dude had a kid with her. He even offered to take dude shopping before. So he knew who dude was.
Hey, Gene, you can already say it, man, 50 Cent. Who else be talking on The Breakfast Club, on Drink Champs, talking about that Diddy invited him to go shopping and that he was going to pay for the bills? Come on, Gene. Go ahead and say it.
You understand what I'm saying? And I know how he is. I seen him do Sarah Chapman like that too. She was with a basketball player, and the only reason she dealt with him is because she once was with Pop. She was with a basketball player, and he made a bet that he was going to get her. He probably had to make a bet about this chick because it seemed like she wanted him in the first place because she was telling how he was dating her girlfriend first. And I think her girlfriend probably got married or something like that, and she started dating him.
And you talking about Gary Payton, right?
Yes, sir. I don't want to say his name, bro. You know what I mean?
A woman named Brianna testified, right, that Diddy held her over a balcony. Tell me about that.
Object. That did not even make it in the courtroom, bro. They objected to that, you know what I'm saying? Because for whatever reason, for whatever legal thing, it was a lawsuit that was civil, that was going on. And they could not bring that into court. You only know that and because of the content creators who was there and people like me who was there who heard the stuff, it got objected to it and they couldn't even bring that into court. But you know what? The prosecutors were like, yeah, we know they was gonna do that. So we gonna go a whole nother route. And they got it in there. I'm gonna tell you how they got it in there. Because
this is how dopamine
Obsession looks in women. They tried to make Brianna seem like everything she said it was lies because of her drug use. Her still wanting to be around Puff. You understand? Her still going out to parties with them, even after she said he choked her, he beat her, he did this. But people gotta understand this. Until you around in that whole atmosphere with those people, you don't understand that the man that's the goal, has all the gold, makes all the rules. Now, see, people don't understand this, and let me break this down to you, bro. If Puff hates you, everybody that you made friends with, everybody that knows you, they hate you. They can't show you that they love or got love for you. Do you understand that? Those people in that industry clique, they'll go out on Mondays and Wednesdays and everything, have parties. If Puff ain't fucking with you, ain't nobody gonna fuck with you. So now, when them girls make up to him, it's not just for them to make up to him. It's to show everybody that's around that me and Puff is still cool so they can start back treating you cool. This is crazy to me, bro.
Yo, that's crazy. That's crazy. And I read some of the podcasts and some of what was said, you know, looking at the transcripts. Brianna was a hustler. She was out there sending them pictures, you know, with different pills and different powders and stuff like that. She was actually like a mini dealer. She would get them stuff. He would get her stuff. They would do trade-offs and stuff like that. So she a hustler. You can tell by the pictures you find on Google that, you know, she wasn't no joke. But they play her because the defense has some receipts that the dates that she claimed that this happened on the balcony, Diddy was in L.A. Diddy was in New York, New Jersey somewhere, and they had receipts. They had hotel receipts, and they had, I think, bills from restaurants and stuff like that. So they were trying to get the case dismissed behind this because they were saying she was lying and that the prosecutors knew this and still had her, you know, lie on the stand. But the judge said, nah, you did a Perry Mason cross-examination there. I don't think it's going to hurt your case. I cannot dismiss this. So this is actually one of the craziest trials I ever followed, man.
I don't even understand why they give a but that's how it is, bro. That's why those people keep running back to him, because they know if he don't fuck with them, nobody's gonna fuck with them in that industry around there. Whether it's parties, whether it's work, socializing, none of that. So when he hung the girl over the back balcony, that couldn't get into court because it was a civil suit that was pending or did like that. You understand what I'm saying? So they wouldn't let it in there. So what the prosecutors did was they got the text messages in there. So when y'all hear the news people out there, well, Brianna was lying. She was not telling the truth. She didn't remember this. She didn't remember that. Puff personal assistant KK and Cassie was texted on 9/30/2016 when it happened.
Yeah, I read that. Cassie sent KK, Christina, a message telling her that, you know, that Diddy was actually hanging her friend in a balcony. So them federal prosecutors, man, they don't play. That Southern District of New York team, they got more than, I think, 98% trial victories and stuff like that. This is crazy.
Texted Yo, he put on, KK, we're going to take care of it. We're going to make sure everything's okay. We're sorry. He was drunk. He was high. We're going to make sure she be compensated for her injury. All that shit, bro. All that shit is in text messages, and the prosecutors got the text messages in there. So now the jury might not see. You understand?
Did you know that you can call your soulmate into your life right now? Here's how. This is the soulmate sketch.
Hear Brianna part of it, but they can hear the text messages because there was a civil suit. You understand? And he was paying her millions of dollars for doing that. So all these content creators, all these news people that say the girl was lying, she couldn't have been lying because the text messages don't lie. They brought in a federal computer analyst who got the text messages out of Cassie and old girl's phone that states that they was talking about it in September in 2016, bro. The prosecutor got bombed for that. Now the jury gonna look at it like, yo, they were trying to make this girl out a lie, but they was telling this lie in 2016, and not one person said that was a lie back then. But all of a sudden, in 2025, it's a...
You know that actually when they brought that cell phone expert or whatever to extract the one that got those messages out of them phones from Cassie's phone, everybody was thinking that was this American-Cuban radio personality from Miami. Santos, his last name. He got a podcast too, I think, and he's like CEO, president or something of iHeart Latino. I know his last name is Santos, but I can't seem to remember his name right now. Everybody was thinking it was him because of the same name, but it turned out to be one of these phone freaks that got all these messages out of Cassie Ventura's phone.
A lie? The prosecutor cooked their ass on that one, bro. Cooked them. They got the text messages that told the story that Puff did hang the girl over the balcony, was choking her the whole 9 yards, and they was trying to put a civil suit or stop her from doing a civil suit so they can pay her off and sign an NDA just like they did the security people. Just like they did the security people, bro. It's crazy.
Yeah, I ain't know all that, man. Because what I was hearing online was she got exposed for lying.
Bruh, they was trying to say the young lady got exposed for lying because the young lady been taking medication, been taking drugs, the whole 9 yards. But there's text messages from Cassie and Puff personal assistants that told the truth.
I'm wondering if KK is going to take the stand either for the prosecution or for the defense, because she's being mentioned everywhere. Mia mentioned her. Cassie mentioned her. Jane Doe mentioned her. 50 Cent baby mom, Daphne Joy. They all mentioned KK. So is KK a co-conspirator or is she cooperating? That's the big question.
They told the truth. Why would they be lying in 2016 about that happening? Why would they be lying? Right after it happened. Right when it's happening. And that's the point that prosecution made. Bruh, through this whole trial, and the girl was talking about pink cocaine, ecstasy, mollies, some pills that they ain't know what the hell it was. Drugs, bruh. The drugs will change your whole life. Here go a guy, a kid that not use drugs, wouldn't smoke weed. He got out there, and not only he got drugs, he got drunk on power. By him being drunk on power and using drugs, he wasted his whole life away. We're gonna see the beginning and the end. This is the first time, bro. This is the first time in our lifetime we're gonna see an individual that was on top of the world, had everything that they also dreamed of, and gonna lose everything that they dreamed of. You can't make this shit up, bro.
Yeah, it gotta be the drugs, man. If you hanging people over balconies, you can't be in your right mind. But I want to ask you about D-Rock and a guy named Paul. Like, I'm hearing these testimonies and their names keep coming up.
Bro, that's why either D-Rock and Paul, they either gonna be a co-conspirator, the prosecution may have their testimony sealed, whereas they may not have to come into court or whatever like that, or they may bring them into court or whatever, or may have some kind of sealed affidavit or whatever from them, but they're gonna have to either testify or be a co-conspirator. Now, they say KK is a co-conspirator. They mentioned that in the courts, that his personal assistant KK is a co-conspirator. So how can D-Rock not be when he was mentioned way more than she was?
Oh. See, that I didn't know. That part I didn't know.
They was mentioned almost in every testimony, bro, that people gave. They was talking about Paul and D-Rock, Paul and D-Rock, or D-Rock and Paul. So it ain't came up yet. Either they gonna be co-conspirators or they gonna have some kind of sealed affidavit or sealed testimony or something against Puff. They got to. They got to bring them in some kind of way. It's too many people that talked about them, bro. And these are the same two people, D-Rock and Paul. These are the same two people that when people talk about Gene Deal, these are the same two people that let Big down. Let's get into it, Mighty. These are the same two people that let Big down. D-Rock convinced Puff. Puff had D-Rock convince Big to come to that party that night. Paul was D-Rock. Paul was fucking Big security. Uncle Paulie was Big security. These same two people, you see them help destroy fucking Big because they didn't do their job and didn't do what they were supposed to do that night for Big. Now they finna destroy fucking Puff ass. They didn't stop him, bro. They didn't stop him. When he was doing that Paul telling people, one of the security men, oh, me and Puff was friends from childhood. Fuck up out of here. You ain't stopping them from doing stupid shit. You ain't stopping them from beating no girls. You ain't saying, yo, my man, you fucking drugged up out your mind. You need to stop doing that shit. What is wrong with you? They didn't do none of that, bro. D-Rock only knew them through Big. So I don't expect that from D-Rock. But then I expect D-Rock to be a man and say, yo, my man, you can't be beating these girls like that. You making us look bad, bruh. What is wrong with you? I'm not working for you, you doing that shit. That nigga Paul was around when Puff wasn't using drugs. Yo, stop that nigga, bruh. Don't let that nigga do that shit to himself. These are the same two motherfuckers that the night Big got murdered played a role in it. Played a role in it. Paul not doing his job right. D-Rock getting big there when he was told not to. Now look, same two people that didn't stop Puff, who had been around since the Notorious Big. And look at him. Bruh. He was responsible for bringing Biggs to that party when he was told not to. There's enough people out here that know that he was told not to bring Big to that party. Big was supposed to be in London. He got Big to that party because that's what Puff wanted Big at. Paul was told as a security personnel, they coming to get us tonight, bro. So you gotta be on alert. If Big is your principal and you're responsible for Big, you gotta put yourself in between, in the middle of every threat possible. And Paul didn't do that.
Whoa.
If Puff is your principal and he your childhood friend, when do you grab this motherfucker by the collar and say, man, put the drugs down, go get some help? What is wrong with you? There's no way in hell or heaven.
U.S. homeowners are ditching solar panels for this. Powers entire home. Thousands of homeowners are living completely off grid and saying goodbye.
I would allow that kid to do that shit around me.
You've been seeing these interviews by the Punisher, the sex worker for Diddy and Cassie?
Man, I seen a lot of the interviews that he was doing. The thing about it is that he got a book out, and I respect his hustle. You know what I'm saying? I've been asked to come on those same platforms, but I decided not to do it at this time. But had a problem with what people were saying when it came down to Cameron, because when I think Cameron was probably one of the first people to interview him. And people was going at Cameron because they was talking about he was shaming Cassie because she was the victim in the whole 9 yards. And Cameron had asked him how the panani was, the nana, the goods, how Cassie was, and people are now trying to say negative shit around Cameron when they don't understand that Cameron, when did he first become a fucking, I never heard Cameron say he was, what do you call that, a role model. You understand? Cameron never came out and said he was a role model, brother. You understand? Now, he's a good role player, whereas that A kid could say he can't go wrong if he do the Cameron done. You know, Cameron played ball, became a rapper, became a millionaire. You understand? By using his talents. Now, if a kid role play like Cameron, it wouldn't be that bad. But the fact that you calling him a role model, Cameron is just talking like dudes from Harlem would be talking on the corner. The question he asks you is questions that dudes on the corner be asking. The that he do and he say is what dudes on the corner in the hood do and they say. And the first thing a dude gonna say is, damn, I wonder how the pussy is. You understand? Now,
That's true.
I wouldn't be wondering that because I heard the stories of all the diseases and all this other stuff about it. But most dudes on the corner is gonna want to know. So when he asks those questions like that,
He was being
you
street.
can't get mad at him
That's true.
because he's being himself. And he knows what dudes on the corner is thinking because he ran on those same corners. So you can't be mad at him because he asked those questions to a guy who was being paid to have sex with her. Evidently, to me, it must be still good. She had 3 kids and just had a baby. Congratulations, Cassie, on your 3rd child. I'm glad it's healthy. Hope it be wealthy and well for the rest of his life. Y'all don't be mad at Cameron for that. Cameron is asking where the people who come watch him.
Cameron is a hustler. Because before he had this podcast, whatever it is that they talk about, I think they talk about sports and stuff like that. They got some betting companies supporting him and Maze, and they be doing some freestyling on it and stuff with different names. And I remember Cameron because I used to follow him on Instagram with his girl. I don't know if he's still together with that girl. But Cameron used to be selling socks. This nigga was selling socks on Instagram. He's a hustler. This nigga's streets from Harlem. So you know what time it is. It's like Gene said. These are the types of questions that you will get asked in the corner somewhere, in the bodega, in the corner.
Him talk and see, he know what they questions they want him to ask somebody. I don't have a problem with it, bro. Like Big say, that was his favorite Harlem rapper, Cameron. Yeah, Big said that. I was talking to Big the week before he died, and he was telling me how he had signed Cameron them, and he said, out of all those people that was a part of that whole crew with Herbie, Mace, Cameron, that Cameron was probably the Children of the Corn. Cameron was the nicest one. All the rest of the guys was nice, but he was like, yo, Cameron was his favorite out of that whole batch. Big said that.
Yeah, I always heard that Big though.
Let's leave it at that because this is kind of a long interviews, an hour long, and this is like a part 2 that I'm doing. I don't want to get nobody tired from watching this reaction to this interview that Gene Deal is getting from Mighty. The title of the video is Gene Deal exposes details about week 4 of Diddy trial and exposes 50 Cent baby mom and all dark secrets. We heard on the first part everything about, Daphne and everything that she said in the trial and everything that went on. On this one, we heard, things from the girl that got dangled from a balcony, Cassie's friend, Bangola, I think is her last name. She was, selling some medicine, let's say like that, medicine to Diddy, and Diddy was giving her some other types of stuff. And she had a lawsuit, because I remember talking about that on my Spanish podcast, about this lawsuit from her. And I don't know if they settled it or what, but they were trying to get, the case thrown out because they were saying that she was lying because of the date and stuff like that. But look at what Gene Deal said. The prosecutors came at them with text messages that a security or cybersecurity expert or something took out of Cassie Ventura's phone. And you could see that, even though she got confused with the dates because of all the drugs that she took and had, maybe erased some of her memory or whatever. But the text messages that Cassie sent on the 30th of September, I think he said, to KK, Christina Caron, mentions of what had happened of Diddy, hanging her from a balcony and stuff like that. And Christina saying, we're going to take care of it. We're going to make sure she's taken care of, whatever. He was drunk. He was high, whatever. So I'm going to leave it at that. Let's maybe do a part 3 to do the whole video, because it's an hour long, and I don't want to get nobody tired. So let's leave it there. One love.